So during the DVLottery Medical Exam, applicants go through a series of medical evaluations to make sure they qualify or meet the health qualifications of the United States. Yeah, oftentimes these tests are done or are performed or are carried out by medical expertise that are specifically designated by the United States Consulate. Yeah. So if you're watching my face for the very first time, my name is Rachel Agasha. I'm an immigrant from Uganda. I moved to the United States in August 2022. I won the DV lottery, and that is why I talk about it, because in the videos I share my experience, I share what I went through, what I have been through. I also share about the things that I have experienced in the United States of America, how to live life, tell you about the mistakes that I made that you shouldn't be going through, telling you the things that I know now that I wish I knew then. Yeah. So if you won the DV lottery and you feel like, oh no, Rachel, I do not agree with what you're saying, please be kind enough to share your opinion in the comment section, because like I said, I share from my experience. I won the DV lottery in 2021, so things could have changed by now. So if you have updated information, be kind enough to share with our viewers. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section. I answer the questions according still to my experience, but if there is need for me to do some bit of research, I will do that, because I'm out here to give you information that you can actually rely on. I am not going to tell you anything that I'm not sure of, but I would want to inform you about things that you actually do not know about and give you the knowledge that you require. Without further rambling, let's get into this video. So this is what happens at the medical exam, like when you go. So depending on which country you are from, like I said, I am from Uganda, and in Uganda we do not people don't do the medical exam or even the visa interview, the DV lottery visa interview. Please quote me right. I did not say all of the visa interviews. I said the DV lottery interview in Nairobi, Kenya. Unless this changed this year or last year, I am sharing from my experience. So when you go to Nairobi, of course, initially, the consulate will send you information of the embassy where you are going to go. Yeah. So being a Ugandan, in my head I was thinking, why are they telling me to go to Nairobi? But actually that is how it is and how it has always been. So I do not know why, but that is where we go to. So you do the medical exam at the IOM in Nairobi. Yeah. So what happens is you email the IOM in Nairobi, the hospital, tell them when your visa has been scheduled. Actually, they ask for proof, then they schedule your medical exam. Yeah. So you want to be on time, because they give you the details, they give you the time that you should be there, what you need to carry. Please read the instructions. I cannot emphasize that enough. Read the instructions and have everything that they ask for. Oftentimes they'll ask for a picture, so please don't forget to carry a passport picture. Now when I got to IOM, Nairobi is cold, so depending on the time of the year when you go to do your medical exam, please be aware of the weather in Nairobi or in your country. Yeah, at this point I want to speak at a wider perspective, but again, like I said, I share my experience. So when you get there, from my experience, when we got, of course, there's a line. Now I don't know if you have not watched the previous videos, you should, please do. I mentioned that at this IOM, they're working on people who are going to Australia, who are going to Canada, who are going to, excuse me, the UK, and all these other countries. So there are very many people. So when they tell you to be there early, please be there early, because there are people who they have told to be there earlier than you. So you want to be on time. When you get there, you're required to have your appointment letter. So you could just print out your email and show them and be like, hey, you know what, this is my email, because they will not let you in if you do not have that email or you do not have the appointment date. Yeah, they practically have a list that they go by. So they'll look through this list and then find your name, tick it off, and then you can get in. Now when you get in, they're normally asking, I do not know if things have changed, but they normally ask, are you feeling some kind of way, those COVID signs and symptoms and everything? So if you tell them, then they see how to to deal with you. They'll ask if you're pregnant. They'll ask those things. So be as honest can be, because whatever it is that they're trying to do is to keep you safe. Now, when you get into the hospital, I should say. So one thing for sure is that what they're doing at IOM is doing all these different tests. Yeah, they'll do a physical exam. Now, physical exam includes your blood pressure, your height, your weight, your hearing, your seeing, and mind you, all these things are not going to, they're not looking for them to disqualify you or whatever. But if you have not watched my previous video, I talked about some of the things that can lead to you being disqualified from actually obtaining the DV visa. Yeah, so when they do the medical exam, they are still trying to establish all these small simple things. Yeah, so when you get there, they'll show you where to go. So one office will lead you to another, one office will lead you to another. So I remember I got there and I had to do my test. Of course, everyone is, you know, on their own. They're trying to, you know, hustle things out and everything. So the first thing that they asked me to do was the urine test, because best believe they're going to go all the way, like all the way, you know, they're going to check for practically everything. Yeah, and that is why I mentioned that if you suffer from different infections, if you have any infections that you have control over, work on this, because what happens is the moment you get there, they take you through counseling. So they'll call a counselor, and then this person, gentleman or lady, will be telling you, hi, so you know, if you're going to this country, then we're going to do these kinds of tests. If you're going to this country, then we're going to do these kinds of tests. Yeah, and then they'll tell you if you have any infections, we're going to let you know, and then we're going to give you time to heal. Then you can reschedule your visa. They are lying. So I'm going to say this again and again. If you feel like you suffer from any kinds of infections that you have control over, please treat them. There are antibiotics that you can take if you suffer from yeast infections. I mean, you do not want to lose the opportunity to travel or to go for your visa interview because you failed to treat a mere yeast infection. You failed to treat a candida. You failed to treat, I mean, as women, we suffer this because we pick all these things from literally everywhere. So do not be ashamed. Go get those antibiotics and take them from like a week prior to your medical exam, because they are going to be looking for all those things. Yeah. So like I said, you do a physical exam, then they'll tell you if you have any kinds of infections, those things that I just mentioned. Then if you have anything wrong with your lungs or anything that could, normally if you have, like I mentioned in my previous video, if you have anything communicable. So what they're trying to do is make sure they're not letting in someone who's going to be a burden, that is how they call it, to the United States health sector. So I mentioned the things that will, you know, disqualify you. So if you suffer from a communicable disease, that's going to be an issue. But a communicable disease is practically everything that can spread from one person to another. So that might be an issue. But if it is something that you can control, then please do. Yeah, please treat it. Yeah. So after that, they'll definitely do an x-ray. They do an x-ray to make sure you're not suffering from any of those things, like I say, TB. Then another thing they do is vaccines. Yeah, they make sure, because the US has particular vaccines that you should be, should I say, given, that are administered to you. I mentioned the tetanus, I'll put all those things in the description box. So if you really want to have the details of everything that I'm talking about, normally I put everything in the description box, so you don't have to worry. Or if you need more details, everything is in there. And I've advised people that there are some things, that those common things that they always tell us to vaccinate for: yellow fever, hepatitis B. At IOM, they're going to charge you. You'll be like, what is happening? So I would advise that for things that you can do from your home country, or things that you can do outside of IOM or outside of the hospital that has been designated by the United States Consulate, do that. Yeah. Also, there's some vaccines, because when they realize that you have these vaccines already, because normally you get like a certificate or something to show that you got this, then they will not, and that reduces on the cost of the medical exam, of the money that you're supposed to pay. So if you can do this before you actually go, I feel like that would be very, very, very much better. So another thing they do is normally a mental health evaluation. Now, I didn't do this, but in some places they could be doing that. They actually do that, because when you look at the requirements, it is one of the things that they should be checking for. So I don't know. Mental health is really sensitive, so they normally do an evaluation to see, how you're standing and everything is. So better be in your right headspace by the time you go for this medical exam. Then another thing they do is they check your medical history. So if you've had any surgeries, if you suffer from particular diseases, they might ask for more information about your health. If you've been taking particular medications, if you have particular issues, they'll just ask for more of that information, because that is what they want to know. Now, of course, they do, like I said, they do the lab results as well. So they check for syphilis, gonorrhea, HIV, all those things. And if any of those, TB, if you come back with a positive report for all those things, I know people who had issues like that, and up to today, they're still waiting for the embassy to reschedule their interview. But like I have mentioned before, this whole visa thing is a first come first serve. So what these guys do is they say, Uganda, we're giving, let's say Uganda 55,000 visas. Once these visas are finished, that's it. Yeah. So if you had the opportunity to come and do your visa interview and maybe something went wrong, like, that's it. They're not going to wait for you. They're going to move on to the next person. And this is how you miss your opportunity. So again, put yourself together. Whatever it is that you have to be doing before you come for the exam, do that and have it out of the way, so that at the end of the day, you're not struggling with things that you should have worked on earlier. Yeah. So like I mentioned, IOM normally will tell you how much you're supposed to have when you come. So I can't say that you should have this particular amount. I know that for me, by the time I went to IOM, they asked me to have 1.5 million Uganda shillings for whatever it is that they were going to do medical exam. So you can convert that into American dollars. That's like 350 or less or more. You got actually like 350 or more Ugandan shillings. Yeah. So $350 US dollars. Yeah, for the medical exam. So I do not know if that has changed. It could have changed in your country, but they'll tell you. And also, I think I forgot to mention that when you're selected, they give you a span of a whole year to put yourself together. They understand that all these things are going to cost you money, and you might need time to look for this and that and that and that. So they give you the time. They give you a whole year to put yourself together. I always say that when they selected me, I was in my 3rd year of law school, and one of my biggest fears was having to leave the country before I finished my degree. But by the time I went for my interview, I had finished school, I was due for graduation, like everything was perfect timing. Yeah. So yeah, the medical file compilation. So after they have done all these tests, I don't know about other countries, but for me, because I did mine in Nairobi, so I could say Uganda and Nairobi, they will send these results direct to the embassy. They do not give these results to you. What they give you is the x-ray. I think they give you a CD, should I say, showing your x-ray results. Yeah, because I remember I was among the last people to do my medical exam, and by the time I left, everything had closed. I did not know if my x-ray was fine, but I remember when I did it, the doctor told me, oh, your lungs look beautiful. I'm like, okay. So I just held on to that. I'm like, okay, I think I'm okay. I think I should be okay, because that is one of the biggest disqualifications that could come up. If you have any issues with your lungs, it could cost you the visa, because they're thinking, oh, maybe this person suffers from particular things, and they'll tell you, oh, we're giving you 8 months to heal, and then you can come back. No. So yeah, so they compile, send it to the embassy, and then I think oftentimes they call, because I was called and told me, hi Rachel, you need to pass by and pick your CD, and then you should be able to go for your interview. I'm like, okay. Yeah, so that is practically everything medical exam. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section. If I've given you a reason to subscribe, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like for the video, and I'll see you in the next video. See you and take care. Bye bye.